Hi guys, Shay Bills here, and I want to first thank you for tuning in today. Today I have a very exciting topic that I want to speak to you about. It's a topic that I get asked about all the time, and so I figured the best way to address it would be to actually address it via broadcast. That way, should the question come up again, I'll have one central location where everyone can go to and get the proper response. Okay, so thank you for tuning in. Again, if you don't know me, I am Shay Bills. I am known as the Business Street Builder. I bridge both business and ministry. I am both entrepreneurial and ministerial. I love to thank that man above for blessing me with the gift to be able to pour into the lives of men and women all across this great world that we live in, okay? And so you might want to take notes. This particular broadcast is going to be quite informative, so you might want to go ahead and grab a pen and paper, and I'll just take a moment just to give you time to do that, because I don't want you to miss a thing. Now, while you're doing that, for those of you that are still present, I want to say I am always praying for you and your family. I am always praying that everyone is doing well. Say hi to my son.
Hi.
Say hi. This is Jackson, everybody. This is my fresh and new 6-year-old. Yes, he had a birthday not too long ago, so he's saying hi to you guys. Okay, you want to let me finish? Are you done?
What's that?
Oh, that's just my light. He's asking about my light. That's just my light. That's mommy's light, okay?
That's a big light?
Yeah, that's a big light. Thank you, baby. Yeah, so that's my Jackson. So as you can see, my life is pretty much normal, just like yours. I have an awesome, amazing husband. I have a wonderful daughter, and I have an amazing son. I have 2 stepsons. I mean, my life is pretty much, a blessing all the way around. Yes, I have my ups and I have my downs, but in spite of it all, truly blessed, okay? So hopefully you went and got your pen and paper and you made it back now, and I'm going to address what it is I'm coming on this broadcast to do today. One of the things I do want to address, though, is that I want you to make sure that I just told you that I am the Business Street Builder, and I do coach. I help mostly women, some men, navigate their life, their business, and their ministry. Whether that be you're trying to figure out exactly where you land, what's going on in your life, you're having struggles getting past, A, B, C, and D, whatever that may be in life, family, relationships, all that good stuff. Yes, I speak to that. But more than that, my 2 favorite loves are going to be business and ministry, because it's what I do day in and day out. As a business coach, I help entrepreneurs, small business entrepreneurs, large business entrepreneurs, those that just want to be their own boss. I help them gain both influence and income so they can have the life they want, which includes typically freedom, yes, freedom, flexibility, and finances. And third thing is ministry. I am a pastor. I get to pastor a lovely church here in the great state of Texas. But not only that, I am a servant leader. I love serving God's people, and I love that He uses me to do that. And there is no greater blessing, okay? No greater blessing than being not only a child of God, but to know that in that you are also a servant of God. And with that comes a responsibility to serving His people as He commands, right? So moving to what we're talking about today on this broadcast. So I get this question all of the time. Shay, how do you go about, or did you go about launching your ministry? That I could spend literally days answering this question, but I'm going to do my best to give you the short version, okay? Honestly, when I think back some 10, 12 years ago, I honestly did not think that ministry was what it is today for me. I honestly only saw it through the lens of the church realm. I only saw it through the lens of maybe pastoring or evangelizing, things of that nature. So I never saw it the way I see it today. And so I always like to start by answering that question was I did not know that the steps I was taking were in alignment at that time with what I was truly being called to do, because I was still kind of on both sides of the fence. I was still kind of doing the things that I wanted to do. And in that, it created this struggle for me of feeling like I had to choose. Feeling like I had to choose or decide, am I going to, be in ministry and just do the church thing, or am I going to just do really what I felt like my passions were, the things I wanted to do in life. Like at the time, I wanted to be a psychologist. Put that back in there first. I wanted to be a psychologist. That's what I was going to school for at first because I love helping people. And I felt like this whole ministry thing was getting in the way of what my plans were. And so I fought it. I ran for a while. And lo and behold, long story short for this part of it is, because by nature, because it's just who I am, I was still helping people. I was the person that people would go to help solve their problems. Even though I had a mountain of problems of my own, I was the person, even in my family, that people would come to for advice. What do you feel is best? I was that individual. And I was a young mom. I had a daughter in high school. So I was a young mom. So I had these responsibilities that I feel I wasn't equipped to handle, but yet and still I was being put in these situations to handle. And so as I progressed, I had a lot of heartache, had a lot of pain, had a lot of struggles, lots of struggles during my collegiate years. And then it finally hit me toward my last 2 years of college that I wasn't happy. I had to come to the resolve that I wasn't happy with me. And I had to sit with that. And so I decided that for a whole year, I wasn't going to do anything. I wasn't going to date. I was just going to submerge myself into being the best mom I could be and the best granddaughter I could be and the studious student I could be, because I knew how to be a student. I knew that. I knew how to be a granddaughter. I knew that. But I didn't know how to be a mom. That was still new, even though by this time my daughter was, about 3 years old. And so that was my focus. And in that, I discovered a little bit about myself. In trying to be that, I discovered what my love and my heart was. I discovered that. And it wasn't until then that I realized that my greatest joy, my greatest passion, my greatest self was giving unto others. And because that gave so much back to me. Hold on just a second. Sorry about that, having to help my son because he decides he wants to get something to snack on now. Yeah. So anyway, that's kind of how that happened. And so I started paying attention to what these feelings were that I had coming up into this situation where I wanted to please others, where I felt like I had to be a certain way to be accepted by others. And I realized that in doing so, I was no longer being my authentic self. And so fast forward a few years, a year, met my husband. We married soon after that. Lots of trials and errors in our marriage, lots of ups and downs, but still I knew I was called to more. There was this longing, even at night, where I couldn't rest. I didn't really have true peace as far as feeling like I'm where I'm supposed to be. And even to this day, because I need to preface this, even to this day, I still get those feelings. I still have moments where I am sitting still and trying to figure out what this is that I'm not settled with, what this is that I am experiencing. And I know that those are times when God, now I know that such times are when God is pulling me through something to be better. God is grooming me and maturing me and growing me up to be better. So for that, now I'm thankful. I knew, so just to let you know, the short answer to the question is I knew that I was called because I was never settled with doing the things I necessarily wanted to do. There was never this peace or never this rest doing the things I wanted to do. So he always challenged me with my personal desires. He always challenged me with the things I wanted to do and helped me focus on, is this going to glorify him or is it for me? Is this going to give him honor or is it going to make me look good? Is this going to magnify his name or is this going to make my name great? So I had the challenge always by him when I sought out to do things, and that's when I realized that it did not matter what I did. He was always going to direct my steps. He was always going to align me with his will and purpose for my life. And so I had to surrender. It wasn't until then that I just said, okay, I can't win with you. Not this way. Not with me trying to do what I want and then kind of tag you along. I realized it wasn't going to work. And so I said, you know what? I'm going to try it your way. I'm going to fully surrender. I'm going to be available to you. I'm going to separate myself from the things of this world. I'm going to set myself apart. I'm going to mentally, spiritually, physically, emotionally be all in. And that's where Shay broke. That's why I broke. But in breaking, I found peace. So I knew when I no longer felt like I had to do something. I knew when I no longer felt like I had to please someone. I knew when I started communicating with him about everything that was in my heart and everything that I desired. So how will you know? You will know when there is no peace in doing the things you feel you ought to be doing. You'll know when there is no clarity in the things you desire to be doing. You'll know because those are moments that those two things have not been aligned with his will and purpose for your life. There is no friction when it comes to a real, true walk in your faith. And what I mean by that is it may be hard, it may be difficult, there may be a struggle, but there won't be any friction between you and you knowing that it is what God has called you to do. You'll have peace of mind even going through hard and difficult times. And so I want to encourage you because I know if you're like me, the reason you're asking this question is because you feel it and you don't know exactly what that is. You sense it and you don't know what to do with it. Or you may not have anyone around you to talk to about it. I want you to know that I am praying for you. And I am praying your strength. I am praying that your resolve is one that is met with an answer from above that shows you not only in a manifested way, but in a spiritual way that gives you peace internally. That gives you peace internally. Okay? So, how did you know you were called to the ministry? I knew because it was not something I sought out for myself. That's for me. Now, everybody's story may be different, but I'm just telling you my story it was not what I saw for myself at all. It was not at the time anything I desired. It was not at the time anything I even wanted, and I'm being honest. But now, hindsight, is 2020. Looking back, it took all of that to get me to this point. And it has taken everything they've gone through to get them to that point. So your journey isn't going to be like anyone else's. Your path isn't going to be like anyone else's. Yes, there'll be streams of familiarity in stories, but your path is your path. I leave you with trusting that the call is great, trusting that he doesn't call those he does not equip, and trusting that you have already been anointed for the assignments he's going to place in your hand. I think one of the things you may need to get over is, the fear of your surroundings or the fear of messing up or the fear of not being enough or feeling unqualified, let me help you put those fears aside. Okay? The Bible talks about when, David was a servant of Saul for years, and how when Saul had got out of the will of God, that God anointed David to be king. Prior to that, Saul saw the anointing upon David. But here's the thing, he did not recognize that God's hand was no longer upon him. And because of it, jealousy set up in Saul's heart, and he sought to kill David. One who was his friend at one point, one who was his confidant, one that he rolled with day in and day out, now has become his enemy. And let me tell you something about David running. He ran because he still respected Saul. He ran because Saul had poured into his life. He had served Saul. He ran because he knew that no matter how afraid he was of losing his life, no matter how bad it got, no matter how long he had to sleep in that cave, he knew that the hand of God was upon him. And he had to trust in the face of fear that God promised to take care of him and provide. You have to do the exact same thing. There will always be some form of Saul chasing you. And I believe the reason he chases us is so that we can keep running with God and not get comfortable where we are. See, you've gotten comfortable where you are, and God is now chasing you. He is putting people around you that sees the light of God upon you, the hand of God upon you, and he's having all of these people speak to your life, and you're just stuck, and they're speaking to you because they're supposed to push you out. Don't stay comfortable. Don't fear launching out. Okay? I pray that this has been a blessing to you. I want you to know that I am praying for you and I am praying with you. You already have everything you need as long as you got God. If God be for us, who can be against us? Okay? You are beautifully and wonderfully made. Go forth, man of God. Go forth, woman of God. Be all that God has called you to be since the foundation of this world. You are his. And there is nothing or no one that can separate you from what he has called you to. Okay? All right, thank you for tuning in today. I pray that this has been a blessing to you or your aunt. Show this to your cousin, your auntie, your mom, your dad, your brother, your sister, your best friend, your coworker, whomever you feel may need to be encouraged to walk in the things of God, whether that be in life, whether that be in business, whether that be in ministry. Share this broadcast with them that they might find encouragement in their walk in Jesus Christ. All right, I am Shay Bills. You can find me on Instagram at The Business Street Builder. You can find me on Facebook at Shay Easter Bills Ministries. And until the next broadcast, I love you, but God loves you best. I'll see you soon. Bye. Oh, don't forget to subscribe wherever that button is, up there, down there, over there. Hit subscribe. Okay? Talk to you later. Bye.